Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are taking a look at something that feels, well, on the surface, almost mundane.
Right, the mess on your desk.
Exactly. The mess on your desk, the piles of laundry, that corner in your living room.
We all have one.
We do. But we're going to uncover the massive and I think really hidden cognitive toll that it's taking on your brain. We're diving into some conversational excerpts that really focus in on the brain's reaction to untidiness.
And the source material poses this really powerful question that I think gets right to the heart of our mission today.
What's that?
It asks, why does physical disorder create such verifiable internal stress? Why does clutter genuinely tire your brain out even when you're not consciously thinking about it?
That's it right there.
Yeah.
That's the mission. We're not talking about, the usual self-help cliches about organization.
Well,
We're going straight to the neurology of it. The goal is to extract that surprising psychological mechanism that links your physical space to your mental well-being.
so you can immediately understand what's creating that persistent low-level static in your head.
Yeah, that background noise.
And a great place to start is with that immediate, almost visceral feeling the source material describes so well.
Okay.
Think about walking into a truly disorganized space. Maybe it's a garage you haven't tackled in years, or a really messy home office.
I'm picturing it.
You haven't done any actual work yet, but you suddenly feel heavier.
Yes.
There's an unexpected nervousness, a tension that just sort of appears out of nowhere.
It's like a subtle sense of dread. It's not just, ooh, I should clean this up. It's a physical tightening.
Yeah.
I've heard people describe it as feeling instantly like mentally congested.
Mentally congested is the perfect phrase. And what's crucial here, and this is what the research in these sources really emphasizes, is that this is not just an emotional thing. It's not a preference.
It's not just me being a neat freak.
Not at all. This tension is verifiable. Tidiness doesn't just look better. It actively and demonstrably reduces the measurable tension in your brain. The mess is creating actual cognitive load.
Okay, let's unpack that claim, because that's a big one.
It is.
If I'm sitting perfectly still in a messy room, I'm quiet, I'm not actively worrying about chores or anything, why is my brain still registering stress?
Yeah.
What is the core neurological thing that's turning a pile of clothes into, a cognitive problem?
Well, the problem really lies in the brains, its fundamental job description.
Okay.
Your brain is, at its core, an information processing machine, an efficiency machine. Its main function is to map your environment, ensure your safety, and manage how you spend your energy. Clutter, by its very definition, it just violates both of those rules.
Okay, hold on. How does a stack of magazines violate my safety? That seems like a stretch.
It's not a physical threat. You're right. It's not a lion in the corner. It's a cognitive one. Clutter sends these continuous, unresolved signals to the brain. Your brain processes the world by categorizing things. Is this a tool? Is this trash? Is this important?
I see.
If something is out of place or part of a big ambiguous pile, the brain can't quickly categorize it and then dismiss it. It has to keep working on it.
So the brain is forced into this constant state of, visual search and assessment.
Yeah.
It can never just rest.
Exactly. Think of it like a low-grade alarm system that never, ever shuts off. Every single item that is out of place is processed by your subconscious as a pending obligation. The brain reads this visual chaos, this lack of clear boundaries, as if it were just a continuous stream of unfinished tasks.
I've always thought of it as decision fatigue, but this sounds even deeper than that.
It is.
It's not just about what decision I have to make about the pile. It's that my brain has to constantly look at the pile and acknowledge that a decision needs to be made over and over.
You've just nailed it. That's the core of the mechanism, that stack of mail on the counter. It's not just paper. To your subconscious, it's an administrative queue waiting for you. The shoes left by the door. That's an incomplete step in a routine. Because these things lack resolution, your visual field is just bombarding your brain with the message. Task incomplete. Attention required.
That sounds utterly exhausting. It's like running a diagnostic scan on your computer that finds 1,000 tiny errors but can't fix any of them.
It is genuinely exhausting. And this mechanism, it means your brain stays continuously active, always alert, even when you're physically sitting still. It's dedicating processing cycles just to manage the environmental noise.
And the source material, they call this, being confronted with perpetual pending obligations.
That's the phrase.
Yeah.
And that sustained low-level vigilance, that constant visual input that requires filtering, is incredibly taxing on a cognitive level.
So if the brain is an efficiency machine and clutter forces it to be inefficient, it's basically stealing the bandwidth we need for, higher level thinking. I can see now why people feel so heavy and strained. Their prefrontal cortex is busy managing the fact that their environment is unmanaged.
It's the hidden cognitive tax of disorder
Wow.
and the knock-on effect on creativity, on memory. It's significant. Those resources that should be available for deep work are being diverted to environmental monitoring.
So you feel tired, not because you've done hard work, but because your brain has been fighting visual noise all day.
Fighting ambiguity, yes.
That perfectly frames the problem then. Clutter equals a continuous threat signal based on the ambiguity of unresolved tasks.
Exactly. Which, naturally leads us to the immediate and really powerful solution if we understand the mechanism of the stressor.
We can reverse it.
Perfectly.
Okay, let's shift focus. Let's move to the solution. If visual chaos acts as a threat signal, what message does the act of tidying actually send to the brain?
It sends the complete opposite message, a message of safety. When you define your space, when you organize it, you get rid of that visual ambiguity that was fueling the whole unfinished task engine.
So by fixing the spatial chaos, you're sending a direct message of security.
Security and safety, straight to the subconscious mind.
So putting the mail in a drawer or, putting the books back on the shelf, it's not just about aesthetics. It's an act of neurological reassurance.
It is absolutely an act of neurological reassurance. The brain sees this resolved, simplified, predictable environment, and it gets the green light. The message is, the environment is stable, it's controlled, we are safe.
And what happens then? Does that trigger something?
It initiates an automatic internal relaxation sequence.
Okay, walk us through that sequence. What's the observable result of sending this safety message?
The sequence the source describes as, well, it's really elegant because it's not something you have to force. It's non-volitional.
Right.
Step 1, the brain calms down, the alarm system is turned off. Step 2, it rests. It's no longer scanning for threats. And step 3, consequently, the internal tension just decreases dramatically.
You don't have to meditate or tell yourself to relax.
Nope. The external organization cues the internal response. It just happens.
That is the ultimate shortcut. We spend so much energy on complex mental hacks and mindfulness apps.
Right.
But the simple act of creating physical order is a direct intervention into your own nervous system. You are literally triggering a shutdown of that vigilance system.
It is perhaps the most accessible form of self-regulation there is. By asserting control over your external environment, you are communicating to your deepest nervous system that threats are gone and resources are managed.
And that frees up all that processing power that was being wasted.
Instantly. It's now available for other things.
This connection, then, between the external world and our internal state, it leads us to what I thought was the most profound realization in the sources.
I agree.
That the effect goes beyond just brain chemistry and into our deeper self-perception.
Yes, this is where the synthesis of the material gets truly insightful. One of the participants in these conversations notes this incredible realization. They say, when I tidy the room, it's as if I am tidying myself from the inside.
That analogy, that external reorganization, is felt as internal reorganization. That's incredibly resonant.
It is.
We treat our environment like it's separate from us, but this suggests a cluttered room really is a representation of a cluttered mind, and vice versa.
It completely reframes the chore of organizing. It's not a chore anymore. It becomes a critical form of mental self-care.
Right.
The act of imposing order is an active physical participation in creating your own internal calm. It's a visible, tangible demonstration to yourself that you have agency, that you can solve problems and bring resolution, even to small things.
And crucially, if the mess represents all those open loops, all the things we haven't completed, then the clean space represents resolution. It closes the loop on all those subconscious unfinished tasks that were draining our energy.
Exactly. When you look at a tidy, defined space, you're not just seeing emptiness, you are seeing completed action. And that feedback loop action leads to resolution. Resolution leads to calm. That is the mechanism for genuine control and for reducing anxiety.
This brings us to the core takeaway then. The motto that really summarizes this whole deep dive.
It does. The source material just encapsulates the entire finding with this one potent summary.
Which is?
Sometimes the simplest external order creates the deepest internal calm.
That one phrase completely changes the value of organization. We don't organize just to be more efficient.
No.
We organize for profound internal peace. We're looking for that disproportionate impact, right? A small change in the physical world yielding a deep, measurable tranquility in the internal one.
It elevates tidiness from a mundane chore to a powerful mental health strategy, and you don't need a massive, life-changing overhaul.
Right, you don't have to redo your whole house.
Not at all. You just need to reduce the threat signals and increase the safety messages consistently. Start with the one or two areas you see the most.
This has been a really fascinating exploration of the brain's subtle response systems. Let's quickly recap the two main mechanisms we've extracted.
Sounds good. The first mechanism is the problem. Clutter is interpreted by the brain as a continuous stream of pending obligations.
A cognitive threat signal.
A cognitive threat signal, exactly. It forces the neurological system to stay active and alert, which results in that unexplained fatigue and tension.
Okay. And the second mechanism, the solution. The act of imposing physical tidiness, even in a small way, sends an immediate, powerful message of security and rest to the brain.
Which then automatically de-escalates that vigilance system, leading to immediate internal calm and a reduction in stress.
It's the definitive link. The external environment directly programs the internal state.
For better or for worse.
So, with that in mind, here's the final provocative thought we want to leave you with.
Okay.
If we now know that external order instantly communicates safety to our subconscious mind, we need to think beyond just physical objects. What other simple, daily external cues are we sending our brains that are causing this subtle, unrecognized stress?
That's a great question. For example, are you bombarded by digital clutter the moment you open your laptop? A desktop with 100 icons on it.
Or a calendar that's so messy and color-coded, it just looks like visual chaos, even if the tasks themselves are legitimate.
Exactly. If you apply this new cognitive lens, this idea that your environment, physical or digital, is speaking directly to your nervous system, you can start to identify all those other subtle stressors.
Start decluttering your visual field, and you might just find that deep internal calm you've been looking for.
I think you will.
It's time to reorganize your way to tranquility. Thank you for joining the Deep Dive.
Until next time.